What I'm going to do actually is bring up our next topic because this is going to lead us into our next one. We got to talk about the other elephant in the room here, and that is Anakin Skywalker exclusive. And this leads us into what we've been talking about, right? Is exclusivity going to be the trend moving forward? Because is this something that's here to stay? Is it going to be for only top tier characters? Is it going to be because which we will talk about too? The symbiote Spider-Man Peter Parker is not exclusive. That one's going to be a wide release, but still, how limited is it going to be? We don't know. We don't know if it's going to be a 1 month and then waitlisted, or 3 months, or just sit in the sideshow for 8 years. I think those days might be gone. I think the days of them overstocking and dead stock, even for example, Moon Knight is waitlisted now. Doesn't mean you can't get him elsewhere. Don't hear what I'm not saying. You can find him on pop culture or wherever, right? You could probably find him. But as far as sideshow goes, they ain't fucking playing around. Like this shit, they're not gonna sit on dead stock for a year or 2 years anymore. Those days are gone. Like it's just not gonna happen. So exclusivity. We're going to have this collecting, community that we're used to with Hot Toys. I don't think we're used to this type of having to fight for figures, this exclusivity where you have to be online. You have to have your payment. You might not get it. You might do everything right and still not get it. Right. Is this here to stay, Optical? Is this something that's good? Is this here to stay?
I hope so.
Me too.
I sure do hope so. Because not everything is exclusive. So there's everything for everyone. Maybe in-art is not for you, so don't spend $1,000. You can get a Joker that's rooted. Maybe this is not for you. Maybe exclusive is not for you. Maybe it's too rich for your blood. Maybe you don't want to queue in line. Maybe you don't have that patience. Then don't. You don't have to. You know what? If you don't pick this up, for example, because it's for whatever reason, it's too much, you didn't get a queue. There's a sculpted version. Well, not on sale now, but it's on eBay. That's gonna take a hit.
Yeah.
Because now you can't sell that for $700. Because if this is going to be 500, depending on how well this sells, right? Like on the aftermarket, if this sells $1,000, then that means that would still sell at $700, $600. So this would dictate how much that sculpted hair would go for on eBay. So with these guys on the comment section saying that, hey, it doesn't matter if it's sold out or not. Well, it's not for now. But once you buy it on the aftermarket, that would determine how much the figure that you are. Look at Mark V. Mark V is cheap now because it's available. When Mark V was not available, it was going for $700-$800. Right? So it does matter whether you like it or not. If it's readily available, it affects the secondary market. That's
right. And Optical, and before, I don't want to cut you off. I want you to hop back in. But basically, with this Anakin, I wanted to throw something out there. With that, dude, this thing, there's going to be so many people. And again, there's flippers, so be it. But there's going to be a lot of people who buy this because they know. If you're talking about investment, dude, there's absolutely zero, unless this turns out like shit, there's a 0% chance that you would lose money on this because this thing will be worth double what it retails for the second it sells out. Like, I mean, yeah.
How many of this, Will? 1,000?
I think 3,000 worldwide. So Sideshow might have 1,000. Yeah.
If the non-sculpted 4-year-old Anakin is going for $700 without a number.
Yep.
This is a main character. And whether you like the hair or not, this is better. Whether if you want to be objective here, if the only reason you'll be like you pick the non-rooted over this is because you already paid $800 for that.
You're just dug in.
I agree.
This is better in a lot of ways, in so many ways than the sculpted version. Now you'll be a fool if I give this to you right now in front of you for $800. I give you $800. Pick one. If you pick the sculpted hair, you're just being a fanboy at that point. So this would set the tone for that sculpted hair. I like the fact that they're not going to release a sculpted hair because that would preserve the value for that. So that would be an option for those who didn't get this. So that would retain its value much in a lower scale, and rightfully so, because that was what, $224 when it came out.
Yeah, the first Anakin. Yeah, and then the dark side was like $260.
Value.
Yeah,
this is like $500 to double the price. So that you wouldn't be able to sell that anymore, or even get that for $700, for example. This would dictate the fate of that other figure. So,
right. What do you think, PJ?
Yeah, it is here to stay. Unfortunately, maybe there was I know during COVID, there was an influx of new collectors that came in, they got the stimulus money and, blew it away on like figures, right? Now the market is kind of like, now it's a buyer's market, right? Like where you have all this dead stock and everything like that. People are trying to sell their figures, i.e. myself. I sold my Tusken Raider for like $170. How
You're
much is that
lucky you got
Tusken Raider?
that, to be honest. That's pretty
yeah.
good.
I mean, how much?
Yeah.
How much is that Tuscan Raider? Like 250
250.
or something like that.
Yeah.
250. So can you imagine? I lost $80. You know.
You got lucky, honestly. Like that, I
Yeah.
think that would sell for like 150, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, you know, you kind of need a good. I know I always preach about the. You know, I think you guys are gonna like start throwing like fishes at me or something. This you need a ecosystem to kind of like, you know, to have a good, healthy collecting market. You know, Funko does it. You know, Funko does like these exclusives during like San Diego Comic Con and New York Comic Con, and those Funko Pops sell for a lot. You know, so this is their, you know, this is unfortunately this is Hot Toys' version of those exclusive like Funko Pops, and yeah, we need it. You know, it's gonna be good for the market. It's gonna be good for collectors now. You know, you could use this, like say you buy this Anakin, you're like, man, I really like this Anakin. You know, I don't like the rooted hair. Now you could sell it and still get your money back. The minimum you're gonna make money regardless, but still, but now the money that you made from that figure, you could like invest in other figures. It's just a revolving door. And that's what Hot Toys used to be. And it is slowly heading that direction. For example, Cad Bane. So now it's waitlisted on Sideshow. So I just did my research and said, all right, let me check out other resellers. Other resellers are selling that $300 figure for $413.
So they noticed and raised their prices. Yeah.
So yeah, so it's, you know, now it's kind of beneficial to pre-order your figures, right? Back then it wasn't, because you knew it was going to go on sale and Sideshow's buy one get one free sales, but that's not the case now. So
Well, and
yeah, no,
optical,
it's here to
how
stay.
many? Because PJ, I got to give Optical credit. How many times has Optical said, "Make me miss"? Like,
Yeah.
and Optical, that's what they're doing, right?
And Will, I love this new model of Hot Toys because we know which ones are going to be Grail. It's being announced. Unlike before, you're going to have to guess, oh, maybe Hela's going to be Grail.
Right.
Maybe Yondu. Oh, maybe Zod. Well, Zod didn't turn out to be a Grail. You know, in here, you know, because they only made X number of figures. You kind of have that, and it looks different than your regular figure. And it's not for everyone, right? Like, just like if you want shoes, there's a lot of sneakers out there. If you want the Jordan OGs that only comes out every Christmas, man, you got to be at finish line. You got to hit that refresh button. But if you just want regular shoes, there's regular shoes for everyone.
Right. And Optical, they will. So whether it's not this one or another one, they will make another sculpted Anakin. Whether it be Dark Side, they're going to do what they did with Joker at some point with this Anakin. So for all the people who miss on this rooted one, or you just want the sculpted one, it is going to happen. It is going to happen. Maybe not now, maybe 6 months, maybe in 2 years of the anniversary. But you are going to get a sculpted Anakin. The Optical, they are going to give you the best of both worlds. But my point about this exclusivity thing, about, for one, like PJ said, it's really healthy for the ecosystem. I don't want it to be every figure, but like you said, Optical, it's giving the best of both worlds. It's giving PJ, you know, it's giving the exclusivity ones for that crowd, and it's also creating a healthy ecosystem where people need to pre-order, where there is demand, where people are look, dude, we have 233 people in the chat right now. How many times has that happened on any of these live streams that I've had on my channel, right? That shows how engaged people are in collecting right now, because you have created something exclusive that has people's attention. Like you said, PJ, even he didn't know about the exclusivity thing really as much. Star Wars Theory made a video about this Anakin Skywalker. I had pulled it up before you even said anything. I had pulled it up because I had seen that before the show started, and he made a video about it, right? So, and that's a huge million of subscribers. That's the biggest Star Wars voice in the community.
Man, Sideshow's website is going to freaking
and he was
crash.
like, yeah, it was funny listening to him. He was like, yeah, like I'm gonna try to pre-order this. I was like, he has money, I'm sure, so he can just buy one on the aftermarket. But you know, it's gonna be. I'm just telling you guys, buckle up, because it's not going to be an easy purchase. It's not, but that's exciting, right? I mean,
it is exciting.
It's frustrating. I get it. I tried to buy a PS5 for like 6 months and couldn't get one. I get it. But if you really want, you know, I haven't even told people what I paid for this Ellie print. But if you really want something, and it's a grail to you, this is, I mean, honestly, I don't want this to be for everything. And if you do miss it and you don't love Anakin that much, don't go pay a crazy price just to get him, because they will make, or also like Optical said, you could buy the Dark Side Anakin or the Light Side Anakin, the sculpted that's already been released. That it does maintain the value of the original in that way, which I do think is kind of cool. But yeah.
But I mean, that's with any collecting market, whether you collect cars, whether you collect
Mhm.
coins, there's going to be a rare coin, car, figure that you're going to want to get. But that's makes it, like you said, exciting to be in. Imagine like everything's accessible, i.e., some of the Hot Toys figures in stock. It's a boring like collecting journey, right? Now you're
Right.
like, oh man, I really want that, that Tuscan Raider. PJ selling. Oh, easy. That's cool and all, but once in a while you get things like this where you're like, oh my god, I gotta be on Sideshow's website. I gotta get this. Bottleneck Gallery. You're talking about Prince. Oh my gosh, I have to be on the website with my payment ready by
Yep.
12 o'clock. If I'm not ready by 12:01, I missed out.
Yep.
But again, it's healthy and makes, it's exciting. I love collecting again. I love collecting prints. So I love what Hot Toys is doing. And honestly, they learned their lesson with overproducing a lot of figures. And this is the new norm now,
Well, it's
whether you
funny.
like it or not.
Optical, I was going to bring up to you too. You know what I was kind of thinking about today? It's almost like I think what's going to be this new ushering in of this new era. I think it's going to be like the steroid era of baseball versus like the post steroid era. You know what I mean? Where like everything was massively overproduced, Hot Toys on steroids, basically. And then eventually now everyone's off steroids. They're not producing near as much, right?
Right.
That was the analogy I kind of loved. And I was like, I mean, I think it makes sense, but
Yeah, no, it does. And honestly, though, but here's the thing too, and I think we talked about it in the chat, is that I think this is the same portrait. I think
I
they
don't think
just.
so. You think so?
I think
don't think
so. It
so.
looks,
What do you think,
dude. I
Optical?
think it's painted really well. I know they say a new portrait.
That looks
They
different.
said it's new. I feel like the eyes are a little shrunken a little bit more. Like it's
Yeah.
more inside. That makes him this dude. If they made it, and we're not finished yet. This is in a year, right? If people say, "Man, this is too expensive," blah, 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 what if they make the eye swappable? That you can put like the red eyes on it, or you flip it over.
Dude,
Like on the
swappable
back or on the back of the thing, or maybe on top, you pull it down and then you get that. Pull it down hard enough. Dude, I don't know, man. I don't care because the first Anakin anyway was a pretty good sculpt to me. Like, let's pretend this is the same sculpt. To me that goes out the window. The old Anakin itself is a grail, and then you throw the new paint and the hair on it and the USB and make it 500. Jesus, dude, it's Anakin. This is where Inard got in trouble. Once Hot Toys did the Star Wars and made it look like Inard, because he was going to compete with Harry Potter. Like, this is the equivalent of Aragorn, right? Like Aragorn, when we first saw Aragorn Inard, that's probably the most beautiful figure I've ever seen in my life.
It is.
And then you saw this Anakin, and you'd be like, okay, let's be honest. Like, how many Star Wars fan compared to Lord of the Rings fan? Like, I mean, that's not even a fair
We also
competition.
don't want to forget about this because it is. We don't want to have short-term memory because I think all of us have, because we've seen these promo photos and they're so fucking good. But then when we all saw this Sideshow originally, we were like, that's so fucking bad, right? That's so, I think that what the promo photos show you is how good the potential of that figure is if you style it and put the effort in. And then if you don't put the effort in, this is the downside of the figure. This is what it's going to look like. So I will say, for the 1,000 people who do get this and you put it on your shelf, you're going to have to spend some time with it. Like, just know, I don't think it's going to be styled as well as, besides Kiko, besides in our Joker, right? I think that hair I hardly had to mess with at all, if at all, right? This one, I'm a little concerned that I think you might. I think it looks amazing if you put the time in, but if you don't put the time in, I think you need to be aware of that going in. You know what I mean? It's gonna look like shit.
I think this is like a display from Sideshow, though, right? It's like,
it is.
Those guys are not putting any effort whatsoever.
They have so much going on. Like, they're trying to do a million different things.
I mean, that would be criminal if Hot Toys ship us like this. What they look like. This is like with the Anna Karen that we were joking about, But I doubt it. I highly doubt we're gonna get something like this.
When I worked for Queen Studios booth last year and I had to style like some of the life size like bust, dude, can I tell you, it is a pain in the ass. So I wouldn't blame Sideshow when they tried to futz around with this thing and they said, F this is like too much. So, like, we don't have time. We have like 20 other statues that or figures that we have to like pose. So but honestly though, like, I know some people say it's a different portrait. but I think I showed you guys like the previous one. I think the paint job is definitely different, and the rolling eyes does make a difference when you have like purse system, right? And then the hair, I just think that I don't know, maybe it's the same expression that throws it off,
Mm.
but I don't know.
I mean, the lack of real leather is an interesting choice, isn't it, PJ?
Yeah, I agree.
Like they went pleather again. That was interesting. I found that
That
interesting.
Yeah, I found that interesting too because I have the dark side Anakin and the light side. So like the pleather is okay, but it feels cheap. That's the only
Mhm.
problem.
Yeah, because you
Well,
would think with their premium brand optical, they would
Mhm.
go leather for this. I mean, to be more expensive, but
yeah,
Yeah.
I think they made what do you call that? I think they made InArt a focus group. Honestly, they'd be
Yeah.
like,
Right.
okay, let's try out what you guys would do. We'll pick apart what doesn't is not necessary to try to bring the cost down, and
Mhm.
then we'll release it. It was like, oh, magnets not working. Okay, pass. Uh, real leather. Oh, you can just take the head sculpt and put it on a third party body. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. I think they kind of made them kind of like what they did with who's that Yoast. It's like, oh,
oh yeah,
vehicles are
Mhm.
okay again. All right, we'll release vehicles.
they were like they let everyone else do
They
the
let everyone do the
experimentation.
focus group,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, "All right, well, we're gonna go ahead." And I got to give them credit because they sit around, watch
Mhm.
while everyone does their work, and they'll be like, they're like a predator. Was like, "All right, safe. Okay, so there's a market for $500 figures. All right,
Mhm.
all right."
Well,
Okay.
you can only imagine, bro, that Aragorn just like swept the whole collecting community by storm. If InArt had the Star Wars license and they made an Anakin or something, yeah, I mean, it would be the same shit times 5. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well, here's the difference. You showed that and the mess of a hair of Anakin earlier, right?
right.
Imagine if we received that from Hot Toys. Guess what we would do? Return them to Sideshow.
Dude, I don't know, optical. Ain't nobody returning this if you got one. Like, because
Well, that's that.
you're gonna sell it probably. You'd
Yeah,
sell
but
it.
that like with how much of let's say a hoopla this creates, you're probably right. But you have the option to return it to
That's true.
Sideshow. If you receive an NR
Very
Joker like this, I don't know what you're gonna do.
It's a lot harder. Yeah,
That's
right.
that's
Because Kit will
they
take care of
not.
you, but you're probably gonna
It
have to
might
ship it back
take
to
like
China.
6 months. Yeah,
Right.
or so back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm like I know what people are saying, like like the people are saying in the chat, like they Hot Toy said it's a different sculpt. Well, I mean, if you have rolling eyes or the purse, like it is a different sculpt. You could argue, but I mean,
right.
honestly, like if someone can like I don't know put two and two together, like how they do like side by side. I think it's the same expression. I think
Right.
that's what makes me think it's the same portrait. If they did something a little bit different with the expression, then I could say, okay, it's a different portrait. You
Right.
know.
Well, I mean, one thing I do want to say, guys, before we move on, like
Mhm.
Daniel's comment, I think is perfectly representative of how good this actually is for the community, right? Because it creates conversation, it creates
Mhm.
debate, it creates engagement. People are,
Mhm.
FOMOing, people are buying things, people are spending more. So
Mhm.
for business wise, yeah, you don't want to overextend your budget as a collector, but this is good for business for them. Like now, there's so much positive buzz about this. There's so many
Mhm.
conversations. This is good for InArt, honestly, because every single conversation about Joker, we've been like, well, is it better than InArt? Like InArt has not even really done shit in the last 6 months,
Mm.
and they're still in these conversations, which this is good for them because it creates a healthy conversation and dialogue. Like again, there's 232 people in the chat. People are engaged. Like, and this is all it took. And I think Sideshow knew this, and so did Hot Toys, and they were like, yeah, there needs to be a drastic change. And this is pretty drastic. And I think not every figure is going to be exclusive like this, but for example, Optical and PJ, maybe that Predator, maybe they make that. Like they say, all right, 4,000.
Mhm.
Like they might just start. I think they might start doing that with super high tier characters, or maybe the lower characters. They don't title it exclusive like a Riva, but they'll just waitlist it really fast. Like they'll just say, okay, we'll give you 2 to 3 weeks, and then that's like they won't announce that. It'll just go low stock and then waitlist one day. Like I think this is the way it's going to be. I think because we all took part in creating this market. Like I pushed the idea of not pre-ordering. We all did because it was smart. You were de-incentivized to pre-order. So now
Mhm.
we've created a market where there's oversaturation. There's no one pre-ordering. It's the same stuff. No one's really that excited. Like, but
Mhm.
now everyone's excited. So now everyone's going to wait for Sideshow to update. They're going to be waiting patiently for them to update when Anakin's going to go up. Same with Joker. Like how many more follows does that get Sideshow? right? That's now people are more engaged with their socials. Like,
Yeah.
it's a win all around. Trust me.
Yeah. But I have to say though, like I know I started a conversation
same
with
scalp.
the same scalp. You know, listen, I agree, and I said something on our chat, Will,
Yeah.
of someone that's something that's rooted also using the old portrait.
Oh, I'll
Again,
bring it up. Yeah.
listen, you guys, if you guys say it's the same scalp, I mean it's a different scalp, I'll go with that. I would like to. Well, obviously the hair looks like kind of weird.
I think it's different, PJ.
Is this custom?
Yeah, this is custom.
Yeah.
This
Just
is
the
the Hot
hair.
Toys head sculpt with custom hair. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's
maybe the paint, but
Maybe the
either
paint.
way, this still looks good. In
It
my
still
opinion.
looks good.
It's a
looks
good
good.
portrait. I'm not saying it's a bad portrait.
Yeah, it still
like,
looks
Oh, it
Yeah.
is a really good portrait. Yeah.
yeah.
I wouldn't be mad if they used the same one, put purse on it, because obviously, even if it's the same one, they obviously did a really well job.
That was the sculpted. It's the same expression though, PJ. You are right. Same expression.
Yeah, same expression. That's why I'm like I said, maybe I'm being thrown off by the same expression. You know, it might be, you know, the same one. So, or it might be a different one, which we have to wait and see till I, you know, I get the figure. I just probably have to pay aftermarket prices because I don't know sure if I'm gonna get one.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, bro, but I mean, this is exciting. Yeah. I mean, I've kind of trying to decide if I do want to pick up this Anakin, but I don't know, man. I might try just because it does look really, and look, I think I could take the time to style it, but would I even get it is the question. I mean, I think a lot of us are going to be disappointed when it goes up. They're just going to sell out really fast. Like, I think you're onto something with PJ, with Mondo. Like, honestly, Optical and PJ, I think that Anakin, I said 5 minutes. I think 1 to 2 minutes. I think short of the website crashing and people, it's just too slow to comprehend all the orders. I think that thing's going to sell out remarkably fast. Like, it's going to, same with Joker. It's going to break
mainstream with that Star Wars theory guy. He made it mainstream.
Yep.
So
right now you got people paying attention. Yep.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's going to be flippers. I mean, to be honest though, it is like
it's part of the game.
It's part of the game. It's a healthy part of the hobby. I'm saying I don't do it. Not saying I would condone it, but it does create demand, and there's people that are always going to capitalize on that. So
yeah. Well, now with Star Wars Theory, like kind of like mentioning in his channel, now you mainstreamed Hot Toys, and that's what you know you kind of want. Right. So now all these new people, they're like, oh my gosh, Star Wars Theory said, this is a really cool Anakin. Oh my gosh, where do I get that? I'm an Anakin fan. So yeah, this is healthy. You know, it's good for the collectors, it's good for new collectors. It's good overall.
It's part of the game, man. Like we would be disappointed, but that's how life is. You know, it makes it more special if you even get one. You can be like, oh man, I beat those 2,000 guys that are waiting in queue, you know, so.
Right.
Yeah.
It happens.
We said beat off.
There's 2,000 guys.
I wasn't able to press the mouse right away. My hand was occupied.
No, but I know, trust me, it's going to be a conversation. And like I said, I just think you need to prepare yourself. Like if you get the Anakin, you get the Joker, happy for you. But I would prepare yourself to say, okay, the odds are I might not get it, but you got to prepare, get your internet ready, log in beforehand, get your payment methods ready, just be ready.
Yeah.
So
by the way, I'm definitely getting it because, you know,
are you? You're gonna try.
I'm going to try. We'll see what happens.
I might try too. We'll see.
Did they say when?
No, not yet. But I'm sure once it is, everyone will announce it, and then everyone will be like, "I'm online." Like Sideshow's
2 a.m. They'll
2. It's gonna be like 2:30 a.m. Exactly.
By the way, Optical, dude, I woke up this morning. I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Like, hell yeah! Dude, my boss was just like, "What? Why are you not working?" It's just I'm making videos.
I'm putting out preview
you
videos.
pumped them out, dude. We're going back to the good old days where you're always the first one.
Dude, like AdSense called me and was like, we're coming back, dude.
We're coming back. We need you to get to the preview videos.
Oh my goodness.